Some people love being alone, while it seems impossible to enjoy for others. Even if you're a hardcore extrovert who's always surrounded by people, there are times where you'll have to be alone. Whether you enjoy being alone or not, here are 10 things you can do to make your experience more enjoyable. 1. Stay away from social media if it makes you unhappy. Scrolling through social media is something a lot of people do to pass time when they are alone. Social media isn't inherently bad, but it can cause you to feel terrible. When you're scrolling through social media, your brain starts comparing you to all the people on your feed. It might look like everyone's having the best time of their lives while you are not, but that isn't the truth. You can't exactly stop comparing yourself to other people, so it's best if you stay away from social media if it makes you unhappy. You can use your time doing something else instead. 2. Spend some time self-reflecting or planning stuff out. In my opinion, this is one of the best things you can do while you're alone. You can self-reflect on if you're progressing towards your goals at the pace you want, or if your week has been enjoyable, or anything you want. Self-reflection can help you figure out if you need to change anything in your life. It can also help you figure out what you want in life. You can also plan things out for the future. You can plan some things for you and your friend group to do in the future, or you can plan out what you want to do the next time you're alone. When you spend time alone to self-reflect or plan things out, it gives you a lot more mental clarity. 3. Find a hobby if you don't have one. If you do have one, you probably do that when you're alone, but you can still try out new hobbies. A hobby can be defined as a regular activity that is done for fun. Although some hobbies like reading or creating art are considered better than others, you shouldn't try out a hobby just because someone says it's good for you. Try out hobbies that you think you will genuinely enjoy. A hobby is meant to help you take your mind off other things and enjoy the moment when you're engaged in it after all. I would suggest you to keep trying things out until you find a hobby you enjoy. Even if you already have a hobby you enjoy, it's still fun to try new things out. 4. Get some exercise. Exercise is good for your physical and mental health. You can do at-home workouts or you can go to the gym. I strongly recommend going to the gym to get some exercise. If you're more extroverted, you will be surrounded by people, and you can talk to them if you really want to. It also gives you more confidence for doing things alone and going outside alone. The benefit of giving more confidence also applies to introverts. If you have the time, you can slowly start making exercise one of your habits. A habit is basically something you do often in a regular and repeated way. Having a habit of exercising will improve your physical and mental health. 5. Catch up with people you haven't talked with in a while. Just because you're alone doesn't mean you can't talk to people. If you're unsure of what you should do when you're alone, messaging or calling someone you haven't talked to in a long time is something you can do. You might even be able to plan to meet up and rebuild your relationship with that person. If someone isn't responsive, you can move on to someone else, and if all of them aren't responsive, you can just do something else. 6. Cook a high-quality dish. If you're hungry, alone at home, and you have a lot of time, you can cook something that takes longer to make or learn to cook something new. Home-cooked food is often healthier and cheaper than getting takeout. Cooking is also a great skill that everyone needs to know. If you enjoy cooking, this tip is the one for you, but even if you're indifferent towards cooking, this is something beneficial you can do to fill up your alone time. 7. Explore your city alone. If you're in a new city, this is something exciting you can do. Even if you have been living there for a while, it doesn't hurt to go out there and walk around. If you can be open to surprises, you might even find something you haven't noticed before. When you're exploring, you can do anything from checking out new restaurants, to going to tourist spots, or just simply walking around. You get some exercise from walking around, which is always good. If you're in a new city, you can learn a lot about your surroundings. If you have been living there for a while, you can learn to appreciate your city more. 8. Go to some local events. This is something that makes more sense in the summer when there are events happening everywhere. Even if it's a different season, there still might be something happening. You can check social media or Google to see what is happening around you. If you're more extroverted, you will love this, since you can meet new people at these events. Even if you're more introverted, if you find something you are passionate about, you can be motivated to go. 9. Learn something new. Learning stuff can be a hobby, but if this isn't your main hobby you do when you're alone, this is something you can do. There's probably something you want to learn about. Everyone learns in different ways, and you can either watch videos, read books, or listen to a podcast or audiobook to learn. As long as you're having a good time, the topic can be anything you want. 10. Do nothing and go with the flow. This sounds a bit weird, but let me explain. If you just take some time to sit there and do nothing, you might feel bored and get the urge to go check social media or something. Ignore that urge and just let your mind wander. Maybe your mind will tell you that you should do this or that. As long as it's reasonable, go for it. Or maybe a different urge to do something else will come up. You can follow that urge as long as it's reasonable. Basically, if you're alone and unsure of what to do, let your mind or feelings decide. How do you spend your alone time? Leave a comment below and check out this video on the difference between being alone and being lonely, as those terms are often confused for each other.